Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Lauren, you're watching The Valentines, and I'm the creator of Alma Apothecary mobile-based soaps. And today I have 6 different logs of soap, which I'm going to cut into 60 bars. And I wanted to cut the soaps with you, show you how I do that, but also, more importantly, use this time to talk about the difference between all-natural handmade soap and mass-produced soap that you get at a lot of the big box stores. And it just answered the question, like, why am I even doing this business? Why it's important to me to have an all-natural product versus some of the things that show up in these really well-known brands. So come along with me as I do that. I've got my soap cutter out. I got this on Etsy. It's handmade soap cutter. I don't remember the exact store that I got it from, but if you're interested in a similar one, you can look on Etsy. This has been a game changer in helping me have a higher quality product, uniformly cutting bars. Before I had one of those soap cutters where it had like a slit where you push the cutter down, and it never worked as well as having like a guitar string this way. So that's one thing I wanted to say. I've got 6 different loaves here. I have 2 of my eucalyptus mint, 1 of my lavender shea butter, 2 tea tree charcoal, and then 1 of my peppermint mocha bars. And I'm the most excited, I'm gonna cut this one first because it is the first bar that I've poured of my limited edition holiday collection. I haven't made this one in over a year, and I'm just most excited about it. So as I get all of these loaves unmolded, I want to talk through, why I make all natural soap and why you should choose all natural soap over a lot of the big box store brands. Because let's face it, all natural handmade soap is more expensive. And so hopefully today I'm going to answer the question of why you should pay that cost. So the first reason, and I've got my notes I'm referring to, most of the soap that you see in stores isn't even actually soap at all. That's right, it's not even real soap. It's actually a blend of detergents, emulsifiers, lathering agents, and perfumes. A lot of which the ingredients are just not good for you and your skin. And this is a conversational video, I'm not gonna be referencing specific studies, but the information is out there in abundance, guys. So you can, any claim that I make on this video, you can go Google it yourself and you'll find just loads of information and articles come up. So what is real soap? This is real soap. The only way to make real soap is to take fats in the form of like plant oils or animal oils like tallow, and saponify it with lye. And that's the only way to make real soap. And a real soap is biodegradable. All those ingredients are biodegradable, whereas the chemicals, the detergents, the perfumes, they're just not. So real soap is more friendly to you, your family, and our environment. So that is the first thing. And I always find it really interesting because I know that I didn't use real soap. We grew up using things like Dove and, gosh, I don't know, just stuff that you find at the grocery store and Walmart. And that was really before people started getting more health conscious. Okay. A break in information to show you my peppermint mocha log. So this, it looks like, there's like this, it looks like a dessert. There's especially this one dessert in the frozen food section. I don't remember what it's called, but it smells divine, y'all. It has real cocoa powder, real coffee, and it's topped with coffee beans. So anyway, So back to what I was saying is, so many people come by my booth, and when I tell them, you know, that a lot of the soaps in the stores are not real soap at all, they're detergents and, you know, emulsifications, and they're like, well, in that case, I guess I've never ever used real soap. You know, grown adults. And to come to think of it, I didn't either till I was like maybe in my 20s. So that's kind of sad to think about. So real soap is soap, and not, so you can find real soap in stores. There's more coming out, but most of them aren't. So just something to think about. And the thing about I think I told you those agents that they use, they're not good for your skin, and they're not good for the environment. And a lot of them have endocrine disrupting agents in them. It's just really bad. Petroleum-based products. So moving on, another reason to avoid commercially produced soaps, products that are claiming that they're soaps, is it's unsustainable. A lot of these big companies are using unsustainable palm oil. So palm oil makes a great soap, and that's why so many people use it. However, you may have heard there's so many problems with palm oil because the way that it's harvested is one of the #1 contributing factors to deforestation in areas where there are many endangered and now extinct species. So it's just wreaking havoc in tropical areas, rainforest areas with loss of habitat and deforestation. So if you buy a soap, even if it's a handmade soap, be sure to look on the label. And if it uses palm at all, it needs to clearly say on the label, certified sustainable palm oil. Most reputable soap makers do that. You'll see them do that. For me, I just chose to do palm-free recipes and just stay away from it 100%. Okay, let's get into cutting our first log. My beautiful, most favorite. Well, I always say they're my favorites. Here we go. Peppermint mocha. So I think I'm gonna turn it on its side because it has the coffee beans on it, and I don't wanna make drag marks down the whole side of the bar. So we're just gonna cut a sliver off the end first. Look at that. Amazing. Awesome. So I formulated this to look like a mocha. You have your espresso shot here on the bottom with the chocolate, milk and coffee, the chocolate and milk layer, and then the foam layer on the top. And we've topped with coffee beans. That is so fun. And the smell is delightfully pepperminty with peppermint essential oil. Very exciting. Absolutely love that. I think for the next batch, I'm gonna work to make the colors maybe even a little darker. And that's the thing about working with these natural colors. They're not as stable as the chemical dyes and stuff. So you're always gonna get a little bit more muted hues and tones. Oh, so happy with this. It's really making me excited for the holidays, guys. Okay, so back to our subject at hand. So we've talked about how most soaps you find in stores are not even soap at all, and they have all sorts of nasty chemicals. And we've also talked about how many companies use unsustainable palm oil, so be careful about that. Next up, I want to talk about fragrances. So, And you have to be careful about this with handmade soap too, because a lot of soap makers use chemical fragrances. I think there's a lot of really talented soap makers who do, and I love their products, and it's no shade against them. It's just I've made a commitment to not use chemical fragrances for some of the same reasons. Many of them have compounds known as phthalates, which are known endocrine disruptors. They are causing challenges with fertility and challenges in early childhood development. And again, this is well documented. So you can go on the interwebs and find out all of this information yourself. And voila, there's 10 bars of the peppermint mocha cut. And I always save my smaller end pieces because I make little pieces and end sample packs of those. Cool. Next, let's go ahead and get into lavender shea butter. Love it. We can cut this one upright. There's nothing to make drag marks here. Beautiful. I love the marbling with the purple swirl. So for this bar, the purple swirl, look at that. So pretty. This purple swirl is achieved with purple Brazilian clay. So it's a naturally occurring purple clay. And I mix that into the batter after it's come to trace. And I have a whole video about how I make the soap and detailed blog posts. So I will link that below for you guys who are interested, because it's really cool. And I use pure lavender essential oil for this. Yeah, so that takes us back to the topic of fragrances. I've made a commitment not to use perfumes and fragrances in my products, which means all of my products are scented with pure essential oils. I choose only essential oils that are sustainable. That means we don't use oils that take disproportionate amounts of plant materials to make, or that the plant itself is endangered, and there are many that fall into that category. So, why don't we use the fragrances? I already talked a little bit about the endocrine disruptors found in the fragrances. It's very drying for the skin, so they end up trying to compensate for that with other ingredients. Let's see. Something that's interesting about using only essential oils. You don't have as many options, right? With chemicals, with chemistry, you can make any fragrance under the sun. And trust me, there is the temptation to sell out all the time and start using the fragrances, you know, especially this time of year, like pumpkin spice is a chemical fragrance. You know, so I'm never gonna be able to make like cranberry woods or raspberry champagne or pumpkin spice. So there's a lot of fun fragrances out there that you just can't get with essential oils. But for me, I love knowing at the end of the day that what I am using is safe for me, safe for my baby, safe for my husband. So that is a compromise. Well, it's not a compromise, it's just choosing what's good for you and what's natural. And so, you know, it's tempting to want to make all these cool fragrances that I'm really not able to make right now. And another thing that I want to explain about essential oils and soap, you know, they're never going to be as strong as those chemical fragrances either. So for all natural soap makers, those of us who've stuck to that standard, we do have to employ some strategies to get the scent to last as long as possible. So some of the things that I do is I will anchor the scent with some cornstarch and with some kaolin clay that I add to every batch that I make. That helps to keep the fragrance. We also have to calculate the fragrance at a safe usage rate. So essential oils can be incredibly strong plant compounds. So I use a calculator that tells me based on the size of my batch how much essential oil I can safely add to that. I also will do a biodegradable shrink wrap on my bars. This helps to keep them clean and it helps to keep them looking beautiful. Check out the marbling. This is the tea tree and charcoal. Pure tea tree oil, folks. Love it. So yeah, I wrap my bars with biodegradable shrink wrap, and that helps to extend the fragrance life as well. But to me, I love essential oils. I love being able to inhale deeply and not get a headache from the chemicals. That has always been a problem for me. So, awesome. That's our first tea tree and charcoal bar. Let's get the second one in here. So just something to know about your natural soaps. They're gonna be, this fragrance is gonna be a little lighter, a little more subtle, and you know, it'll last a couple months, but it's probably gonna fade after that. So use your bar soaps within the first couple months that you have them. That's my advice. But you know, I am a natural girl, and my clients, the people who buy my soap, are people who have also made a commitment to having natural products in their home. Let's see, as I keep cutting this tea tree charcoal bar, which by the way, I've got a whole video showing how I make this one as well. It's really detailed. I show you the entire process, so I'll link that somewhere around here and also in the description so you can check that out if you're interested. So you can see me put in the kaolin clay and weigh out the essential oil and put in the charcoal. Beautiful. So my soaps are, you know, quite intentionally very rustic, very, you know, no tube bar is the same. You've got different, you know, marbling and designs. They're hand cut, so they're always gonna have that rustic look, and that's what I love about it. I want it to be obviously handmade. I love to be able to tell people that my soap is made in a kitchen and not in a factory. Hi, babe.
Hey.
You going out to the bay?
Yeah, just gonna go take a little break, take a look.
Okay, enjoy.
That's bad.
So now we're on our final 2 logs, which is the eucalyptus mint. And this is a great segue to talk about my 4th and final point about why you should choose all natural handmade soap over commercially produced store-bought soap. And the last one is the colors that are used. So let me show you the beautiful coloring that we have in this bar. Amazingly deep swirls of white, green, and blue. These are all achieved through plant materials. And that leads me to the subject of I never use dyes or micas in my soap making process. So many people are becoming more aware of the dyes that come in foods, dyes that come in our beauty products, and they have lots of scary chemicals in there too that are really diminishing our health. You know, if you think about it, why is it that America, the United States of America, is still allowing so many chemicals in our food and our skincare products that other countries have banned years ago? Well, it's lobbying. And sometimes you have to take things into your own hands in order to have, you know, safe products for you and your family. So the green is achieved through algae. I use organic chlorella algae, added at trace to get the green. And the blue is achieved through blue indigo powder, which comes from a plant. And then the white is just the natural color of the plant-based oils that I use in the soaps. So we've talked about dyes. Again, like, I'm not gonna reference studies because you can use the Google machine and find tons of information about how harmful a lot of these dyes are. But I do want to talk a little bit about micas because not as many people, I think, are aware of why we wouldn't use micas. And this is another one where, no hate, a lot of handmade soap makers use micas. And it's no hate on them at all, it's just I have made a commitment not to do it, and here's why. First of all, what is mica? So mica it's a powder form, and what it is it is a mineral that is mined from the earth, and it's found in rocks like granite and crystals. And it is responsible for sparkly, shimmery, and all sorts of bright colors. So if you see soaps that are like neon pink, neon green, neon yellow, all those fun, really vivid neon colors, those are all achieved through micas. Whereas if you look at my soaps, they're all muted, natural colors. That's because I use plant materials, actually natural materials. Now, some people will tell you, oh, well, mica is a naturally occurring substance, and it is, but here's why I don't use it. Number one, there's only a couple colors of mica that actually occur naturally, and that would be like a shimmery white-ish color and a couple of metallics, kind of like gold and silver. All other micas, every single other color of mica that you find has been dyed. So they took those original naturally occurring colors and they dyed them with harmful dyes that you don't want to use anyway. So they took a product that was natural and had it on natural things. But more importantly, is also another like kind of sustainability issue. So over 20% of the world's mica comes from this one area, remote area in India, and there's been a lot of concerns about child labor and just poor working conditions, unsafe. And the environmental impact of that mining. So for me, if I'm having a brand that's based on being eco-friendly, it's really just not an option for me to use that. And again, a very little bit of research, you'll be able to go online and confirm that. So, you know, that's really the main reasons that I don't use mica. So what do I use? Because I have probably 6 or 7 different colors that are used throughout my main soap line. Well, I already mentioned the algae and the blue indigo powder. And then I already talked about how in my lavender shea butter bar, the purple comes from purple Brazilian clay. It's a naturally occurring clay. This coffee bar comes from cocoa, activated charcoal, or real coffee. So stuff you find in your kitchen. Let's see, what else do I use? Oh, I have used matcha green tea. It does fade over time, but it's a pretty one. I use spices like turmeric and paprika. And all of those create just beautiful, it's like a muted color palette of naturally occurring colors, which I personally just love that aesthetic. And then another thing about colors, it's so much cheaper and easier to use micas and fragrances. So when I first started making soap, I tested batches with both micas and fragrances. And it's so much more stable to get the same thing every time. And it's cheaper. It's way cheaper to buy a fragrance oil than it is a 16-ounce bottle of essential oil. Don't even ask me how much a 16-ounce bottle of essential oil costs. So the temptation to use those is there all the time. And I'm really proud of myself that over the years, 5 years in business, I've stuck to this natural commitment, because now that I'm having a baby, I want only the best ingredients with no chemicals, no hormone disruptors, no neurotoxins going near me or my baby. And I feel so much more proud that I've stuck to that. And again, I'm not throwing shade at anybody who hasn't. Some people are totally fine. They're like, give me the bright pink bath bomb, give me the green, bright green. That's fine. Like, I'm not throwing shade at anyone else. I just want you to know what makes my bars different, what sets them apart, and that I really have, like, these ingredients are just more expensive. And it's because they're more safe. They are safer for you. They are better for you. So anyway, I don't want to mumble on too long, but I hope that, I hope these are some points that you didn't know before, that most of the soap that you find in big box stores is not even soap. A lot of them are using unsustainable oils and ingredients. Things like fragrances and detergents and emulsifiers are most of the time not good for you. And a lot of the colorants as well is introducing dyes and less than sustainable mining practices. So a lot goes into keeping a commitment to making natural products, and I couldn't be happier that I did. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me as I cut all these soaps. Now they all get to go on the curing shelves, where they will cure for several weeks to a month before they go out. And I'm gonna link, I have a video making almost all these soaps already, so I'll link those. Be sure to check those out. Please subscribe if you found this information helpful or entertaining, and I really look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. And as always, thank you very much for being here and watching. I'll see you on the next one.